A very good evening to each and every one of you. Today, as our panelists, I do have three lovely ladies. And in COVID, this crisis has opened up opportunities, and that's what I want to bring for us. So each of these moms have started their own business, and they didn't just start their own business, they've risen, they've used COVID to propel their success. And I thought it would be very interesting to hear how they started on their entrepreneur journey. So I want to introduce Michelle. She is the co-founder of The Little Executive. She's a blogger, Mummy Wee, the mom of 6 children, a parent coach, and occupational therapist. I'm just wondering how you fit all that in. Oi is the owner of a maid agency and 10 phone shops at her peak. And Adri is the owner of Abri and Memento distributor and fashion brand. So at Takashimaya, she has at least 10 different shops. So if you were to just meet them on the streets, right, you wouldn't know the story that they have behind their success today. So as we look at this topic, work-life balance, and we look at the different identities of a woman, a mother, and an entrepreneur, I thought it would be most useful for you father and moms out there who are thinking, what does it take to be a successful entrepreneur? So let's start with you, Michelle. How did you start, your first business?
Okay. I think for me, so I've had 2 businesses. The first time when I did it, we did it all wrong, right? We were young, we were in our early 20s, we had no business sense. What we did was I was working in a slimming center, and I knew I wanted to do better for the customers. So I told my husband, he was all excited about it. We went all out, right? We took all our capital. We rented a 3-story shop house. We paid for the expensive slimming machines. We renovated the place beautifully. We bought jacuzzis. We installed a sauna, a steam bath. We had the works, right? And I was, very forward thinking as well. I thought, okay, 3 stories, because I know all my staff would be women. I hired, right from the onset, 10 staff. And then I kept the 3rd story for a crash. I thought if any of the parents had to bring in their kids and no one to take care of them, this was like almost 20 years ago, they would have a space to be, but none of them used that anyway. So we went all out, we spent all our money, and then we opened our doors, right? We're so excited, wow, everyone's going to come. And then of course there was no customers, right? So first question is, okay, everybody wants to sell something. There are a lot of things that you want to sell, but who's going to buy? You need to know who's going to buy, right? But we were actually still quite fortunate because I had the whole range of slimming services, facial services, massage services. So we were very fortunate. We had a lot of friends, a lot of supporters. So a lot of people came at our soft launch, and they bought all these massage packages, facial packages and all that kind of stuff. So we were actually doing really well for the first 2 months, right? But no actual walk-in customer, although we were right on the street, right? Then what happened was on the 3rd month, SARS struck. Wow. And that was crazy. In those days, literally the whole streets were emptied out. So we couldn't last. And today in COVID, actually, I have my second business at this time, and COVID struck. I was like, how could that be possible, right? But I've seen a huge difference. The government has really given us a lot of help, so businesses could survive. During SARS, one by one, they closed down very quickly. And so we bled for a long time with all the overheads, and also a bit dumb. That time we didn't know we should maybe cut staff. We kept all of them, paid all the salaries until we had literally no money. We borrowed from all avenues until we literally went bankrupt. Wow. And we had 3 young children, and we were in our 20s with no money, literally. And we suffered for the next few years. So we had to really cut back on everything. The whole lifestyle had to change. And then you pick yourself up, and then what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So when I had my second business, very different, so it was literally organic. So I started The Little Executive because there was a need. I actually searched for 15 years for an enrichment center teaching soft skills, life skills, resilience, all these kind of skills, 21st century skills to children, but I couldn't find it until I met another therapist, and she's been doing this for a long time, but in one-to-one, so it was very expensive. So I told her, I said, no, we have to do this for the mainstream. Put them in classes and make it affordable and do that. So we literally started just taking one room in her own center, starting with 1 child, 5 kids, it grew 10 kids, 50 kids, 100 kids, and we had to open our own center. And we started with so low capital, we didn't even buy any furniture, we went to Carousel. We bought like chairs for $5. You know, we had somebody in a primary school giving away all the furniture, all their desks and tables. We took everything in for free. So we learned the hard way. We spent all our money on our staff, pay them well, take care of them, but everything else could be secondhand. Yeah, and grow organically.
Thank you for your sharing, because what I'm really hearing is as you started out all wide-eyed and like, let's go, and you crash, right? You could have just, pointed your finger at each other, right? Because husband, wife, or just played a victim and choose to never go out again. But you literally learned. And what I'm really hearing is instead of starting out big, start out small and then grow organically.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
That's more sustainable.
That's more sustainable. And what I'm hearing is initially all your supporters will come. But after your supporters have left, then who is left?
Who's left? Nobody.
Because friends will always support, right? And it's not a sustainable business.
Sustainable.
So if we're in for the long haul, it's really to slowly grow organically, because isn't that Mother Nature?
Yeah.
And your story is also very interesting. In a foreign country, from zero to heroine now, what made you start on this entrepreneur journey? Because for Michelle, it was this good idea, let's try. What was it for you?
For me, I come to Singapore, it's actually not to do business. I was young, I just graduated university. And I moved to Singapore was actually want to work in the office. You know, Singapore is the financial district of Asia, right? This is the playground for all the office. So I come here, I want to work in the office. I want to work at the Raffles area, City Hall area there, or Orchard area. Wear a nice suit as a manager or something. That's why I really work very hard in university to get a good mark so I can able to find a job in the foreign country. But life brings you a different direction. When I come to Singapore, I only bring my brain and love. I don't bring any skill and any experience at all. So I need to survive. So that's where I started to do the business. I have my first business is failed. Same experience. Most of the people start the first times. Not everyone success on the first one, right? Within not even a year, we failed doing optical. And after I do a window shopping, just walk around, that's where I started to get the idea to buy a used second-hand phone in Singapore. And I started by distributing pamphlet. I print from home. I go home and just write a word and I cut by A4 size, I cut by 4, I just say that I'm buying a used item. I got the idea is because my brother just opened a phone shop. In Indonesia, everything is still valuable, even though second-hand. And 20 years ago, people didn't know that second-hand item can sell. No, there is no carousel, you know. There is no phone shop can buy. There is no this cash converter. You know, cash converter come not even 20 years ago. So when I come there, it's like, wow, this country is all very rich. Everybody is very rich. Huh? Everything second-hand, you just either throw away or put it in the cabinet. So that's how I started. So I distribute pamphlet in the MRT, excuse me, thank you. And then when people, if you distribute 100, every day I receive like 10 call or 20, ask, are you really buying my second-hand phone? I got a lot of phone now at home. Every year I sign. So that's how I started. From there, I grew from buying phone from the MRT. Slowly, I go and collect from people's house and start from opening a shop. Within 3 to 4 years, we open about 8 to 10 shops.
I love how you just step out, right? Like you see an opportunity, you see a gap, and without knowing or thinking too much, you step in to fill the gap to bring the rich second-hand, like one man's trash, another man's treasure, and then meet like 10 shops. That's amazing, and out of a necessity. So I love how nimble you are, where things didn't go to the ideal suit that I wanted, and it doesn't matter, right? I can recreate to reach the same endpoint, which is ultimately to enjoy life with your family. So I love that the simplicity that you all started, and then pick yourself up. I hear resilience.
Thank you.
And Adri, like when I hear you share, like I think Adri, you're just amazing because at like university, that was your first job, right? You actually managed to rent a condo in Bukit Timah. What's your, what was that motivation or that driver for you?
I think it was survival. Need a roof above your head. I could choose a simpler way of living, but then I said if I was gonna be homeless, let's try to live it out in style. So I was there, and then I saw this thing on top of the hill, and I said, oh, it would be nice to live there. And you know, you're a student, right? Like, you know, you'll never buy a house up there. So I say, okay lah, maybe you can try to dream of renting a house there. So that's how it happened. So I shifted my piano into the unit, and then I just taught lessons, or I just went to people's house nearby. I was very fortunate because the kids would end up playing a song. So then by word of mouth, other parents would call me. So that's what I did to pay my rent. It's
And-
always about paying rent.
As I hear this lady's amazing stories, right, I'm just marveled because I think so often in Singapore when we are comfortable, because what I hear is out of necessity, when we are comfortable, we just tend to not want to take risks. What if it fails? But you didn't, don't know how to do, let's just go ahead and do it. So whatever dreams you have in your heart, I love how you keep that vision of what you see it to be, and then you just try the different ways of reaching there. Very amazing. Michelle, if I were to ask you today, right, like I think we are growing up in what they call a strawberry generation. Am I right? Like where the kids are a bit more entitled, sheltered, pampered, and they may not have the resilience that you all have shared just in your very short story. So I want to hear, like, for you, what is a life skill that you think is probably potentially more important than just academic excellence?
I think we all agree, being entrepreneurs, that there's so much more that we need to equip in our children. Definitely resilience is something, because especially for this generation, where a lot of them, they face hurdles, challenges, and then they get depressed, anxious, and a lot of kids are already, contemplating suicide at a very young age. It's a very pressure cooker system. So we definitely need to build them up in resilience. And then we need to give them a very more open and flexible mindset. So these are all the skills that we teach at TLE, because we know that the world is changing so quickly, and like her stories are amazing. What I found so amazing is how nimble she is. Going from optical store that didn't work, handphone shop, high market didn't work, low market, and then after that, maid agency, because she can connect with the maids and she really wants to reach out to them. So, these kind of thinking out of the box, being very nimble, very creative, these are things that our children don't have. Our children who are, shuttled between tuition and enrichment center, they come to us at TLE, cookie cutter, one type, they all sit there, yeah. Like, it's like you teach, I listen, I take in, but they don't have ideas, no creativity, no self-motivation, no initiative. All these things are missing, which we really need to build back into them.
I hear what you say because it's that spoon-fed mentality, right? I sit here, do your thing, just feed me. My job is to open, and then they hardly even taste, the knowledge that's going in to begin to even understand that.
And a lot of them become robots. They really come to us like that. And some kids have, I'm not kidding you, 12 enrichment classes. They come to us like, I tell parents, please, they're like a sponge. You cannot, they are so full. You cannot put in any more. You need to give them some free space, creativity. And I had a chat with this closet tiger mom over there. And she was hothousing her little, gifted boy who actually probably has a musical genius. But she hothoused him so much that he's like, stop it! I don't want to play anymore,
I think that's interesting. Adri, would you want to share a bit? Because I hear about your son loving to play piano, but...
No, he doesn't love to play piano.
Oh,
So I used to be a musician, and I wanted to test if he had musical genes. So I signed up for an audition at 5-year-old without any background. And so there were like 300 kids, and they picked 30 kids, and he was one of the 30 kids. So as a mom, you convince yourself that my son has some potential genius. But it was a very tough program. They had master classes every quarter to every half a year. So you would go and play, you would perform, you can't make mistakes, you can't slip up, and kids would get axed off the program immediately live, and then you would have screaming parents, upset parents, screaming at kids why they got kicked out, kids were crying. It was very traumatic, apparently for my family, but it wasn't so traumatic for me, because I was telling Michelle, you need to build resilience in your kid, you need to build them to be determined, to be, persevering, you need to toughen them up. But my husband had an opposing point of view. He said that it was quite wrong to expose my kid to failure at 5 years old and keep being taught that he was a failure, or being put at the type of anxiety and stress level every 6 months, and then worried whether he would kick out of the program. He said, why do you do that to a 5-year-old kid in his childhood? But in my head, it was just about resilience, perseverance, hard work, just robust building up. And honestly, I still think that way. It's okay, I listened to my husband. So after 3 years, I could see that the family couldn't watch TV at night because we were practicing and practicing and practicing. My son was very tired.
he just played for the sake of playing, but I could see there was no more joy. But I still said, never mind, because you know, like most parents, the type with the tiger stripes, you know, you think like if you finish something by 8, 9 year old, you get DSA, right? You have a future ahead of you. I mean, yeah lah, a bit mad. So the whole thing was when my friend asked him if he loved his mommy, and he couldn't answer. And so that was so upsetting that night. And I said, you don't love me? You don't love me as your mother? And then he said, yes, because you scold me when I was playing piano. Every day you scold me playing piano. And I said, okay lah, it's just between piano, you know, if piano makes that hurdle between you loving your mom, just quit the piano.
Wow.
And it was also another session I was sitting in about health and wellness, where they were talking about how if your body is always under constant stress and anxiety, apparently it does, your immune system starts to weaken. That also woke me up.
Yeah.
And then I said, oh no, you know, I don't want to subject his immune system at 5, 6, 7 years old to be weakened, you know, in this way. So those were the two waking up points.
I think I really need to clarify this point, okay? This resilience point, because I think Singaporean, this is very normal. And there are a lot of moms who believe the same. And because Adri is still not convinced, I really have to, you know, get this straight once and for all. Okay?
What's the definition of
Because we
resilience?
teach resilience, and we literally can teach resilience in our classroom. And all these Singaporean kids that come to us, they don't have a growth mindset. So, you know, having a growth mindset is where, you know, you are not afraid of failure, you love challenges, you keep going. And that's what we all want to build in our kids. We all want them to have a growth mindset. But why do they all have such a fixed mindset? It's because they are subject to pressures that are way beyond what they can achieve. So to build resilience, right, and to build growth mindset is to actually know where your child's level at, and you up the challenge to something that is doable. You don't give them something that is so unachievable and is so extremely stress and anxiety inducing that it actually shuts them down. So it has to be done properly, and we actually literally can turn all our kids around. Coming in, you know, you even ask them, do you want? No, no, no. And when we find out why are they like that, we had kids who literally freeze, you know, when they see something they can't do, and it's from the family because they have given these kind of pressures to the child, compared to kids who have never been, you know, they are free to keep trying, exploring. They don't have this handicap that you've given them inadvertently when
I'll
you
send
actually...
her for reversal.
I so love
This
what
is
you're
so
sharing, Mish, because I think when we talk about growth mindset, unconsciously, right, the parent like, I'm going to push you and push you and push you. But I think what you distinguish very clearly, it's the label. Oh, you're not good enough. And if I am made to feel like a failure every time, no wonder I will give up. You tell me I'm a lousy wife, example, all the time.
Yeah.
After a while, I will live into your prophecy of who you see me to be.
Yeah.
So, but I think as we focus not just on the label or the end goal of what I want, but on the process.
Exactly.
Like, yay, let me be their best cheerleader. And you made a mistake is the perfect opportunity for you to get better.
Yeah.
I think in that heart, right, as we don't push them so much towards the goal, the journey itself becomes enjoyable.
Yeah.
But Adrian, I really want to...
She's right. My son now just doesn't want stress. He doesn't want any stress. He doesn't want to go for Olympiad. He doesn't want to go for any competition. He tells me at 9-year-old, every day I just want to be happy. You know, my dream is just to be happy. I just want a simple, stress-free, happy life. Which I say it sounds like a retirement person, right? But I say I just want stress-free, happy life. And so I was just sharing earlier, right, that so the teacher asked them last month who was stressed, put out your hand. If anyone's stressed over exams, and he actually asked his form teacher, you know, is there something wrong with your question logically? Because who gets stressed over exams? So she said, oh no, like my son went to the other end of the
Continent.
They're still trying to process.
Sorry, maybe
Yeah.
I
But
can
I
so comment about the happy. You know, when your son say, maybe I can just share my experience. When your son say that he just want to be happy, isn't it something a good thing to this one?
So, actually, I want to ask you, right? Coming from Indonesia, I think it's very different because I think in Singapore, and Adrian, I want to affirm you first, right? I think starting out with those stripes, push. But I think for you, right, when you chose to say, you know what, I'm not going to push you anymore, I think that really freed him and created a completely new environment for your family, which I think is pivotal because, in Singapore, and parents out there, studies, academic excellence is really a pressure cooker. You know, where we are like, oh, you must get this grades. For me, I used to be a tiger mom, right? My daughter come home 9 upon 10. Why 9? Why not 10 upon 10? So I want to hear like from Indonesia, is that the culture where, you know, kids are also driven, or is it different?
In Indonesia, it's different. We are, maybe for me, I only say in my point of view, not all Indonesian Chinese. I maybe come from a smaller town. So my parents raised me without any expectation. to become a woman, you don't go to school also, it's okay. You want to go for fun. Literally, I go university, I really want. But my parents tell me, you want to go for what? Okay, but I want because I see a lot of my friends go and I want to achieve something. So I been raised without any expectation. Woman just stay home. Either you get married a good one, stay home, become a wife, stay behind the man and support the man and take care of the family. That was to call it success. When you are success, if you have husband and you got family to take care, that's it. That is your success. That is how they rate you. So consider I can feel that in my hometown I maybe not consider success because one, I divorced. I do business, I be independent, and I even teach my daughter the way I live my life. By 16 years old, my daughter already learned to have her own business, and I didn't know why she go to nail. It's because from young I tell her that do what thing make you happy.
I think you brought up a very powerful point where I feel today parenting has changed to, instead of being child driven, because your parents didn't have expectations, so you were free to explore and just explore because you know that's
But I
life,
never
right?
say, I never give my daughter, like you all say, right, okay, my daughter study, or she go take piano, she go take swimming, speech and drama, Chinese and English, no bahasa, right? Chinese, English, she take tap dance, ballet, all she take there, I tell her, baby, mommy pay all that from you young until you are 12, none of it you use. End up you go and use mommy way, you do business now. And your business is
But
not,
I want to ask you, when you paid for all those courses, was it you want or she requested?
some she requested because when we walk, they say, mommy, people ballet. Okay, later she want this, she want piano. She even play guitar. I told you I spent 50,000 for guitar, and then she sell the guitar in carousel. He literally selling all the toy in carousel. Then I tell you, if you just want business from 6 years old, I teach you how to do. Instead, I'm paying all the tuition center.
But what I'm hearing, right, is you allowed her to find her way. Because very often, right, as parents, we feel, I got so much more experience, I know which path you should go. And then and me for one, right, I unconsciously dictate to my child, even in small things like netball. I was a netball player, so who's CCA, right? When she told me what she wanted to take, I was like, why not netball? Your school team in CHIJ is one of the best, you know. And then the one word sentence that woke me up, she was like, but mom, you asked me what I want. And in that moment, I think for you, when I got like, yeah, this is not, I have my own life to live. And my unfulfilled dreams are mine, right? And if I want to fulfill, I can choose to fulfill them. But this is about a new being. She's completely different from me with her own interests, her own giftings, her own unique individuality. And if I'm going to force her towards a particular path that I think may be better, who is to say that she will, how do I say this, that her unique race is not on hers to complete. You know, so I think the freer, the sooner we get the kids on their path of discovering, like, you know, this is what I enjoy and this is what I love doing. I think as we open opportunities and like what you're talking about, growth mindset, and allow them to fail, because that's what I'm hearing from you. Or try, okay, the one, then let's move. And every time there's a learning opportunity, I think it sets them up for really not shrinking back and trying, because isn't this what it is about? But really, okay, didn't make it, let's go. Yeah, let's go. So, yeah. So I want to ask, right, like when we talk about this topic of work-life balance, because so many moms out there, whether you're starting your own business or not, if you're employed or even if you're a stay-at-home mom, your work then is about your home, right, or your employment. How do we balance it? So, you know, Michelle, if you can.
I think work-life balance is probably one of the toughest things to achieve because we only have 24 hours in a day and we are, you know, doing so much, right? And we want to pack so much in. So while actually now we're fortunate that we have the freedom to design our own lives, I think the scary thing and the thing that we all really have to look out for is that work doesn't encroach upon your entire day and your entire life and your family, because that is too easy to happen, and it happens to all of us, because there's always urgent, important, emergencies, work, there's always emergencies, and it's always the poor kids that are left. Never mind, mommy not free now, tomorrow, next week, oh never mind, sorry, that kind of thing. Even if I'm at home, it's the same. It's worse actually when you're physically at home and then Kate comes to me, this when she was younger, mommy can wait, one more email, wait, mommy can you wait, and poor kids. So it's and initially I told myself, okay, first few years I'm going to focus on my new business, right? And my family, they were so supportive, my husband, my kids, my parents, everybody, and my priority was my work. And they know that, oh, mommy can't go for this event, mommy's always late, mommy's isn't that because she has a workshop, she's got to deal with her parents, because I already scheduled in all those slots. And then, okay, that was fine. But I realized 1 year became 2 years, 2 years became 3 years, 3 years became 4 years. And I said, hey, wait a minute. Until I realized poor Kate that when she was at home, she was just playing computer games, and quietly, and over time I realized, hey, I don't need this kid anymore because you're at work so much. And even when you're at home, you're not present. So I think COVID was also amazing. It reset everything, and I told myself, no, I have to be way more intentional. I have to put a lot more boundaries. I have to now protect my time. So I only go in once or twice a week. I work from home only in the mornings when Kate is in school, and when she's home, I'm present with her. And you have to be so strict about your boundaries. Yeah.
I get. If not, I think what I'm hearing, right, is you are successful precisely because you spend the time, the energy, and that's something that you enjoy. I think one of the things, even as I'm preparing for this, I enjoy it so much. I mean, yes, I enjoy the mom part, right? And how do I pull myself away from something that I enjoy to something that's important? Because the important kids, yes, they come, but they are so easily pushed away that after a while we are like, some priorities in life. That's what I'm hearing. And I want to ask you, so when we talk about woman, mother, and entrepreneur, because today's moms, like what you say, right, in Indonesia, just, woman stays at home. But in today's moms, we wear so many hats. I'm not just a woman, I'm now a mother, and I must work. How do you balance it?
For me, I can say that, okay, for balance it, all these few years, okay, I'm a divorcee. I've been single mom for about 10 years, I can say. So before I become a single mom, I juggling with the relationship balls, entrepreneurship balls, a mom balls, and a woman, right? I have to juggle all these things. And after I become a single mom, I telling myself that if I focusing on, maybe I don't have the energy. So 10 years ago, I decided to focusing more on myself. Why I bring this is because I didn't advise everyone to do this, but I'm just sharing my story. I remember when I was at the bottom of my life, my career is still okay, my business, but the marriage is failed. So I'm telling myself, what do I want? Do I want to continue with miserable, or I want to continue with happy? So I'm telling myself that, why don't I just choose, I am the most important person in this world. Because I'm the pillar of my new family as a single mom. I got my daughter and my family hold my hand. And if I'm not happy, if I'm not the most important person in this world, how can I carry someone? How can I lead my company? How can I run my journey if I myself not the most important? So since then, I only focusing I need to be happy. I need to be enjoy. I need to do something that I love. But of course, in the business point of view, you need to make money, right? And anyway, I'm studying finance, so at least I've been training myself to do the cash flow and to analyze the business. You need to be profitable. Cash is the king. I mean, that was for me. So since become a single mom, I only juggling the balls of how to develop myself to be a new woman, the woman that I want to be, the mom the best that I can be. I mean, this is my only best. Maybe for others it's not the best. I receive a lot of judgment that why are you not feeding your daughter? Why are you not sending your daughter, pick up your daughter from school? Or you are like flying sometime all the time, and you're not like full-time mom or whatever. You've put your work as a priority or something. But I'm a single mom, means single income. Single mom, single income in the most expensive country in the world. And I have no friend that time. I don't say now I got a lot of friends. The time I have no friend. Literally 13 years I only have 2 friends.
I can imagine. I can't imagine how it was for you. But what you say is so true. In this society, right, we're often being judged, right? Like you should, the mother, so potentially in-laws, mother should be like that, not enough milk, example. You should this. And then friends, or you don't send your kids to school like what you're sharing. And then they're like, and then you are bad mother. And then entrepreneur also being judged, right? You should be doing it this way.
So yes, that's why. So I've been just a lot. Then I was like, I'm saying that maybe one thing I realized that I put the ball on the one side is the relationship. Relationship with, as a man, I mean. So I've been juggling myself with how to develop myself, because I lost myself. I lost myself after marriage. I've been raised like, Cinderella story, happily ever after, everything. And this is a new thing for me when the marriage is not work out. So I have to rediscover myself again. But I have responsibility. It's not fair for me to give up for my kids. This is the one that I wanted to give the message for a single mom or single dad. It's not fair to give up. I mean, cannot say unless, because we've been raised with love. We've been created always by love. No matter mistake or not mistake or the, what do you call it, accident or something, right? Some people being created by accident or anything, but it's still out of love, right? So it's not fair to give up on that love, whether for the kids or for your family. For me, that's how I moved my life for 10 years and then discovered myself. So after 1 decade, here I am. I realized that, okay, there's another one ball that I don't really touch much, because that message also not coming from inside. It's actually from my daughter, my mom, and my dad. They say out those words to me that, what else you want? How long you want to be single? So that's all only I can share that. I live my life out of love. Everything I do is all from love, joy, and of course fun.
I so love how I see the extension of your love, fun, in the different businesses you do. And what I'm hearing very key is self-love, right? Like first as a woman, as you center yourself, as you know what's important. And while the relationship didn't work out, you left that ball for 10 years. And then now you are, what I'm hearing, ready to pick that up, to juggle the different areas in your life again. And what I'm hearing is just, as we go through different seasons, right, there will always be priorities.
Yes,
right?
the word, I think the right word is called maybe priority. My daughter is 17. Since 4 years ago, every time I go to her, I go to her room or let's go out, she will tell me, Mommy, can you go out from my room? I was like, okay, what's this? When you are below 10, you need me all the time now. But I got a lot of advice. We need her literally. She have what, 20? 22?
Yeah, Michelle has 6 children. 22 is the oldest, the youngest is 8.
I have 5 teenagers in the house. It's just
5
crazy.
teenagers. I got one, I already say, I'm not good enough, I'm not a good mom, I maybe fail, I maybe this. The struggle that we have. The struggle that we have that, I think most of the mothers struggle to have that one, we call it, I'm not good enough. That's why I just told 2 of this lady, maybe I need to tell you, do you ever watch the movie Bad Mom? Okay, my imaginative
Yes,
is...
I did.
You did watch?
Yes, I did. And I loved it. I went to watch with, this Bad Moms, I went to watch with a group of moms and we were laughing. Our laughter was erupting the entire cinema. It's hilarious.
Please, all mom, all dad, please watch that movie. We call it Bad Mom.
Yeah,
they have
Bad
two.
Moms.
They have 2 movies, Bad Mom 1 and Bad Mom 2. Literally, literally.
I think what I really love about the movie that you're describing is really where all moms are trying to show this image of a perfect mom. This group of moms decided, you know what? With all that, let's be authentic moms. Let's be real and let's really connect with our kids and embrace the totality of who I am, regardless of what the world is telling me. And I think that takes a lot of guts, a lot of courage to stand in the face of no agreement and to still choose your path and to be the influence in the family. So, Adri, I just wanted to hear from you, right? Like when we talk about work-life balance, your business is like, whoa, starting from a violin teacher, and even today earning the numerous shops that you have in Taka. I think what really impresses me is in this crisis, people are closing down, you're opening shops. So what is it that you think you have that makes that you can turn crisis into opportunities? Is there anything that you want to share with the moms?
What do I want to share? I want to pick up on where they were talking about from the woman, mother, and entrepreneur. So I think previously I was 70% entrepreneur, maybe 20% mother, and 10% mom, 10% woman. 10% because I didn't look after myself and I just worked on high adrenaline. I was just basically working. The children were just the leftover of what?
The prop.
Yeah, the prop. And I was just 20% mother. And I think what shifted from there to now in terms of the work-life balance is, I think now, like I said, right, I mean, we're the only mother to our kids. I mean, that reality is unshakable. And then I see them growing up so fast, and then I keep trying to have one more kid to kind of be a better mom, and then I say, never mind, I missed all that, now I have one more kid to like better my behavior and learn to be a better mom, but how many more can you have to keep doing that? And so I decided, okay, I'm going to be intentional, I'm going to be mother and woman first. So I'm going to look after myself, so I don't end up anymore for vertigo, migraine episodes or collapsing. I'm going to do my mother bit. And then now my entrepreneur bit is actually at the back. It's at my leftover time. So like if they have classes from 3 to 5, I do meetings then. And then I'm also forced to go because I need to pick them up. You know, I don't do meetings at the expense of them. So now my meetings follow their timing. If they go to school and I have 10 to 1 p.m. free, I only do meetings then. So the rest of the time I'm with them. So that's where I had to put my boundaries. And I think the other thing I realized, perhaps missing the equation, was the wife bit. Because there's like woman, mother, entrepreneur, and then we forgot about husbands in the middle. Like seriously. So my husband always felt that he was the lowest of the rung already. The kids were the lowest, he's like the invisible layer, you know. But then I realized in order to achieve the balance, like today, right? So today I'm not here, he's taking the kids. So I think we need that stability of the marriage in order for the rest of the balance to happen. Because in the first few years he was struggling. It's like he was busy, I was busy. If we both had important meetings at the same time, if we both had important events at the same time, who goes? You know, who goes? Like, is your work more important or my work important? It became conversations like that. But I think these days is that understanding that will divide and conquer. You know, it's that whole understanding that will support each other in that ecosystem. And I think that has led to a lot of the work-life balance. And then we learn to chill and watch mindless drama at night, just to chill. You know, we never used to have this. And I think in terms of that whole balance, the work actually happens to be a lot more fruitful now. It happens to be a lot more productive. I actually like COVID. I love the circuit breaker. I was so sad that they stopped it in the middle of June because I was expecting it to run till the end of June. It like shortchanged 2 weeks of my holiday because this is my only forced time to rest. Like Michelle said, you know, when I had circuit breaker and the world stopped, I realized that I could see my kids grow. I realized I could be part of everyday conversations. I realized there were a lot of things I was missing in that 2 months. That's why I wish that circuit breaker would go on. And then it was an intentional thing. And that was when I said, okay, you know, Adriana, like, you've experienced 1.5 months. You know, I have a choice if I want this to continue or can continue getting sucked up by the world's energy, because the world just continues relentlessly without you. They throw the demands, they throw your time, they ask you for everything. And maybe I was just not good at saying no, right? And now, after this space, I said, wow, I'm going to guard it because I really like it. I mean, I wish it could extend a bit longer, but I really, really like it. And so now there are a lot more boundaries, and I say, okay, you know, these are my priorities. And again, strangely, during circuit breaker, when all the, I mean, we just heard bad news of people getting retrenched, when you hear shops shutting down, I actually wanted to give up too, because I said, oh, I'm in retail, you know, I'm in that hot zone where people are shutting down. I mentally started to prepare myself and ask my husband, should I shut down? How are we going to survive? Do you ever think the shops will come back to where it was? I was actually prepared to shut down. And personally, I said, okay, like, so I spoke to God and I said, okay, if you want me to continue this, you let me know in a very obvious way that you want me to continue this, and maybe you have to help me sustain this because it's inhumanly impossible already. And I remember I had that thought process and I said, I'm just going to wait at circuit breaker and see what happens. And actually what happened was when our competitors started to close down and the stores called us and they said, can you take over their counter? You know, because we got like over 45 brands. So we had that flexibility to be versatile, to move it around and to also check the price points and see which ones were suitable for this market. So we started taking over our competitors' brands. And then of course I had another competitor who I felt sorry for because they were closing down after 14 years and I said, wow, all your legacy gone, all your hard work gone, all your marketing also gone. You know, and then I called them out and I said, why don't I preserve the legacy of your brand? So those were the small things. And then lately there were more outlets that closed, people went bankrupt and liquidated. I think it's fortunate that maybe we've have a proven track record, you know, that maybe we've built good relationships over the years. And I think it's a time when shops are vacating and perhaps there is that trust that we could take over and that we could turn it around. There's also pressure, but you know, they expect us to turn it around and to keep it viable and going. I thank God that we've had decent track record. I don't know if I'm going to happen, if this is going to happen in the next 6 months. We just pray hard that it's going to work. But so that has happened. I mean, we've just had a lot of opportunities of people asking us to take over, to turn things around. We've been turning things around since July, August, September. 2 more projects are coming along. And then we just do our best now. We treat people nicely, we treat customers nicely, we value all relationships with partners, landlords, vendors, you know, suppliers, and then we just give it our best shot.
One keyword that I'm hearing is relationship, and thank you for your humility in sharing, because originally like work, but then as you choose to focus on the relationship with you and your husband, what I'm hearing is then you realize that you're not alone, that you don't have to shoulder it by yourself, but you do have this support that was always there, just a missing prop. And as you synergize together and rest, like literally rest, the initial relationships that you form, you know, whether with your landlords or with your partners and with your brands, it's beginning to rip fruits for you. So you make it sound very effortless, oh, you know, and then, but I'm sure you are reaping the fruits of what you sowed before, where you choose to honor someone, where you choose to build a good relationship while doing a good business instead of building your business any other way. And so kudos to you. So what I hear is favor on you as you choose to just do your business with a good intention, with pure heart. Yeah, because I think Oi and Michelle was also saying when they choose to go where the money is, somehow the business doesn't seem to be built on something sustainable. But when it is really from the intention to fill a need, it amazingly prospers beyond what we thought possible. Michelle, I want to ask you, like, on hindsight, right? Like, because Adri was sharing when she first started a business, on hindsight, is there anything that you would have done differently as a woman, mother, and entrepreneur?
I think for me, because you know my older kids are now much older, and something has become apparent only recently. I think it's because they're more able to verbalize and vocalize their thoughts now. What I was wanted to share with the rest of you, you know, and the audiences who have younger children, I think one key thing that we might sometimes tend to miss is when our kids actually look like they're okay. You know, they look like they're surviving, they are doing fairly well in school, they don't have behavioral issues, you know, and then you tend to like, okay, I can do my own thing, I can do my work, you know, I just, you know, spend minimal time with them, or you think everything is rosy and great. But then the years just pass actually really quickly, and it was only not too long ago that one of my older kids told me, actually she told her godma that, I know it's okay lah, mommy, you know, is very, very busy, and she needs to spend a lot more time with the younger kids, so it's okay lah. But I know that, you know, it means a lot to her. Yeah, so I think we got to be a bit more intentional in how we make time for every single of our kids. And we got so many kids, it's like 6, 5, 4, you know.
Every day of the
F1.
week.
F1. Okay, I really, all of you, it's really all me. It's really like,
Yeah.
really amazing. You
Yeah.
both, three of you.
And
all
I
of
think
you,
one
it's
very,
really
very
amazing.
simple tip, you know, to share is that sometimes it doesn't have to take a lot of time. Because when I try to, you know, tell parents this, and they all look at me like, how we got no time, we're very busy or we're very tired, and you know, we're all busy and we're all tired, right? And we all want to achieve so much, and we all have so much on our plates, right? And we don't know how to stop, right? Or the work demands it, our companies demand it. So I found that the most practical things that I have shared that parents tell me it's helped them is that just the regularity and the structure of something fixed. It could be really, you know, even be short, something 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If they're really young, every day. If they're maybe in primary school, you can get away with every other day, you know. If they're teenagers, okay lah, every 2-3 days you have a chat. When they're older, it's okay. Once a month we go for a good, you know, whole afternoon out. We go for lunch, we go shopping, we you know, do their stuff, their nails, their hair, whatever. But I think the key thing is have structure, have intentionality, and the message is you are very important to me. Despite my crazy schedule, you know, I want to put this for you. Yeah.
I'm moved even as you share what you just did, because I think in this period of the summit, so I normally do spend time with my kids, but I think one day last week when one of my daughters came home, she looked for daddy, you know, not mommy, you know, and you know, you don't love me, you know, that home, that moment, I'm like, where's mommy, you know? And then I got that if she says something like that, it's on me, right? Because how much do they know? They're just saying what is real. So even as you share that, right, I get like, and that's my constant reminder to myself, and why I began to put the structures that I do today, even like what you say, 10 minutes on a daily basis. I also get that when the kids start to act up now, bad behavior, it's a symptom of that emotional lack of top-up. So my teenager at 14, I realized that when she acts up, right, I'm like, okay, I know you need a hug. And I am first to acknowledge that I haven't been spending time with you because like it's about the relationship, right? Let's go and do something you want. And as we begin to top up that emotional love account, I think that's where the mother role, you know, and what's amazing is even as we top up that mother role, we play that mother role, it actually tops me up as a woman. Because then I get reconnected to who I am primarily as a person. And you know, and it's like what I'm hearing, it's really a juggling act throughout. Yeah? Each and every of this.
I love the word that you say, top up, emotional top up. Yes. So we really need that. We really need that sometimes. When the kids and when you're sharing about when they grow teenager, I need to know more how the teenager you have until 22, right? Like now my daughter, like once a week, he can just call, Mommy, like today actually after this, I'm gonna accompany her to color the hair. I was like, okay, this is the time. It's like, wow, when she call me, her time is precious. Then I imagine like, is that how I made her feel before? I think so. For me, I'm a single mom, so I have quite a few help. It's like my maid and my mom. So when she come back home, usually it's the maid. So I'm blessed. I only say that I'm blessed. I have my mom and my maid, that the one I get my tips. How my daughter is like my daughter down or anything, she tell them. So they are the one who give me tips. Hey, your daughter in school just now, being bullied or sad. So I have a tips. Then that's where I come. I can put down everything. They just come slowly play. But I always use fun. That's how I say. I only use fun and game or anything. And let's go and play this, or let's go. This is bigger. I say, let's go spa. Let's go do massage. Let's go this. So I expose my daughter to that. But I'm using a different. I don't go direct. I use another fun way to try to talk. Yeah, but when you're a teenager, it's a totally different kind of whole game. I only can say.
It's more friend, right? It's no more top down.
Yeah.
Not just the friend.
If I talk to her, it's like, can you do this? Not works. When I just say, hey, what do you think about this? Is it good? It's like, wow, he become like, she's the one want to teach you. I say, okay.
Yeah, I get that, right? And Adri, is there anything on hindsight as you look at this work-life balance that you would have done differently?
Work-life balance. I treated the first few years of the business like a hobby. I didn't really put much into it until I was retrenched from my job. So I had the business and I had my job. I had a job that was overseas and a business in Singapore.
Wow.
And you know, the regional job was obviously of a higher interest level. And this was always a hobby. And sometimes I wondered if I had invested a bit more in the early years, maybe the business would be even more different today. So I only woke up in 2016 when I was retrenched, and the last 3 years I really plowed in to make it work. So I wondered if that whole hobby thing would have been better. And I think in terms of work-life balance, I would have paid more attention to my husband and my kids. I think it's very easy to go into overdrive, you know, especially when the business is starting, or when you think like, I just got retrenched, I got to make this work, and then I put everything into it. And then the rest of the people in the family just drift by, you know. And sometimes I'll stop and I'll wonder like, what's happened to them this whole week? Because I didn't see them the whole week, and I just try to touch base again. And I think if I let that gap grow bigger, it's even harder to touch base versus daily. So for me, it would be more intentional, because my two older kids grew up so fast. And it's always they're like, what happened to them in 3 years? And then, you know, sometimes I catch myself at night, I'll start looking at their photos, trying to remember what they were when they were 4 and 5 years old. And then I wish like I took more photos. And then that whole regret comes back. So yeah, I mean, I can't regret anymore. So I think moving forward, it's more of just being more intentional on the mother, wife, woman role. And unfortunately, the entrepreneur seat for me should have taken more of a back seat. Yeah, really.
Really?
Because those are the things I think money cannot buy, and time cannot turn around. And you know, and I was just reading that a mother's nurturing years were until 6 or 7. You know, and I said, okay, I still got 2 more kids. You know, I still have
Under the age of
some time.
six.
Yeah, I still have some time, fortunately. But you know, what else do I make out of that under 7? Because if these were the crucial nurturing years for mom, versus, you know, the need for dad's influence and peer influence later, then I said I really have to make it count. I mean, it's irreversible, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'll go Michelle again, but you know, it's irreversible. then I better do something now, right? So those seeds, I mean, obviously I've been sowing more seeds into the business than sowing into my children. So yeah, I go for mother workshops, go and be a better mother, chill a little bit more.
You be given
Reverse
fourth chance.
on my parenting.
You be given fourth
Yeah,
chance
now
now,
I got
right?
another
Okay,
chance.
okay.
Fourth chance,
I
right?
help you,
Uh-huh.
make you feel a bit better, okay?
Yes.
And for all those moms out there also who may have, suddenly was like, oh goodness, what did I do to my kids? I had one child actually, she was very, very neglected. Because I had too many kids, right? And I was really too busy. And she was a very easy kid, very good natured. And I remember one neighbor, until one day she told me, do you know something? I said, what? Every time I come down to look for you, your child's with your helper. This child, like, I've never seen her with you. And I'm like, oh, yeah, huh? She was that easy. And one of her birthdays in school, the teacher said, okay, so mommy, maybe you can share 3 of her favorite things. I looked, I was like, I have no clue. Then the teacher's like, her favorite food? I was like, I have no clue. Her favorite toy? Her favorite TV show? She was so easy because she was not the first few, like anything goes. She was just tag along, no choice. Poor child. And so she actually reacted very, very strongly when she went to P1 because I put her, again, wrong mistake. We parents think we know the best, right? And engineer all these things, right? I put her in a different school, and then she cried every single day. She was in P1. She cried every single day for 2 months. The kind of screaming, yelling cry. She was so emotionally depleted. She was so neglected that she was just crying like mad, right? And then my older kids were like, Mom, can you just make her stop? Like, you're her mother, can you just do something? And I tried and I couldn't. Soft way, hard way, this way, that way, couldn't, because she was already so beyond depleted, like maybe like your husband something like at the door, sight already lah. Huh? So, but okay, we fast forward another 10 years. So then from there, I built back. And she was past 6, I built back all those bonds with her. I spent the time to repair all of that. And now she's a teenager and she's amazing and she still is really sweet-natured. And I had a conversation or many conversations with her throughout the years. And she's sensible enough to say, she says, Mommy, it's okay. Actually, I really forgive you. Mommy, actually, I'm fine. And Mommy, this and that. Yeah, so repairable.
This is
Michelle,
called
I
repairable.
so love the redemption in your story because if we all knew, right? But how many of us
Yeah.
know? By the time I know,
Yeah.
mine is like a teenager, like
Another
boys.
one,
But I think it's not just about doing it right from the start. Because had we known, I mean, the benefit of hindsight, we're all experts, right? But I think it's about moving forward. So this is what I have. And even as I listen to you, right, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the social needs, and the tank will always be there. And I think as long as my child is there, as long as my child is alive, that's always another day, another opportunity for me to plant into their life, for me to impact their life and top up their love tank, whichever love language that is, whether it's spending time with them, buying gifts for them, hugging them, giving words of affirmation, or just doing acts of service. And I think that's the most beautiful part about being a mom, right? Or being a woman, or even being an entrepreneur, where it's not like the end, here, now, right? And as we learn these life lessons, we just bring them along with us and we become wiser and we begin to bless other people with the experiences and the stories and we just overall improve, right? Isn't that what life is about? Instead
And
of beating
there's
ourselves.
really no point to beat ourselves up or to feel really bad, because then you cannot be the best mom that you can actually be from today. So we all can still, start afresh.
and actually, right, Michelle, if it's out of guilt that I'm doing things, I won't be surprised I'll be spoiling my kids, whatever they want, I give in, because it's guilt that is driving my actions. But if it's out of love and like, you know what, let's put the past in the past and let's newly start our relationship. Like whether it's with my husband, so for me, for a few years, my husband also took the back bench and the relationship was definitely no good. And then, but it's okay, now let's build on this relationship with my partner to be, with my kids, who it may be a teenager, but as we begin to build, right, I think that's the indomitable human spirit that we have. Like as we creatively begin to, this way, and discover our children for who they are. Discover our businesses for the opportunities that present itself. Correct? Because the only one thing that is constant is change in this world, right? As we live in a volatile, very uncertain world. It's where, this is life, right? Where it's an entire journey. So in closing, I just wanted to ask, is there like one lesson that you will want to encourage mompreneurs or dadpreneurs out there, or even those who are working and feeling bad, any one advice that, or encouragement that you want to share?
I think maybe with regards to change and this whole pandemic, I think it's been a big deal for a lot of people. Circumstances have changed. similarly with Adri, what happened for us at work also, everything was like it's stalled. We were panicking, right? No new customers. Parents were all staying away because they were afraid of the health issues. And it was scary because we have a team, we have people to feed, they have families, and our priority was to keep the business going. But how do you do that? But like you said, it's really a spirit. It's communication, it's expectations, it's teamwork. So we communicated to the team that, hey, we have to write this through together. We cannot ditch our kids. The kids need us. We are serving so many families. And you see, when everybody banded together, actually we surpassed. And it was very funny because we had no more marketing budget, right? We had to cut everything. Like we were having this chat, trim all the fats. That's how you survive, afloat, right? Cut everything, and then it was via word of mouth. And actually, COVID did us a favor because then suddenly parents are home with their kids, right? Kids couldn't go to childcare, and the parents are like, "Hey, why my kid like that? Why my kid, not resilient, cannot focus, why the behavior this and that, And then they'll share with their friends, and friends say, "Hey, go to TLE, TLE has fixed all my kids, that kind of thing, right? They're amazing. They teach them to have growth mindset. They teach them this kind of thing, and so it's very strange that when one door closes, another opens. And I think the key thing which we have resonated with each other is great perseverance. We keep going, we never give up, keep rethinking what can we do, bring the team along with us, bring our families along with us, and we are the pillars. We have to stay strong, we have to take care of ourselves, we have to ensure we have enough sleep, enough nutrition, don't go and collapse, end up in the hospital, and don't put away things that, it's easy to put away our health, put away our families, all these things that never mind later, but we can't. We have to be, to ensure that whatever's on our plate, it's a pie. We just really have to balance all of it intentionally.
I so love, there's so much gem in what you shared. And the one thing that I really got right is how in this period, as it's relationship, right? Where you begin, like parents can always outsource their kids to you, but I think what your heart is about, it's not just building a next generation of kids, but in seeing the parents connecting with the children.
Yeah.
And I think COVID has really resetted everything and given us all new opportunities to really look at life and say, stop.
Yeah.
Is this what I want?
Yes.
The mad chase, the mad rush I've been going, that, is that really what I want? And as we choose to be conscious, right, instead of like, because sometimes life happens so quickly that we become caught up in doing, instead of time out, zoom out, let's stop. Is this what I want? Yeah. And then as we choose to give ourselves the space to recalibrate, we literally create a new future across the different balls that we juggle. Oi, any encouragement or any wisdom?
For me, I can just say that I love the word that you say, self-pity, because that's what I've done to myself for many years. Until I wake up is after my nun from the church, even from the church, because where I get my strength is actually from above. When I hope never that I will collapse on the bed. Usually when I really collapse means I will be sleeping for long. Then I really know, I need emotional top up. For me, it's like, I'll just book a ticket, I fly, I stay in the church, which is in the mountain, the retreat place, which I just realized in Singapore actually have. Now that I realize Singapore actually have. But I go back to Indonesia, I stay in the mountain for 3 days, I buy one-way ticket. Then the sister say, how long you stay? Never ask me anymore. Beginning they ask how many days. Now they never ask. So until I say full already, I book my ticket tomorrow, I'm flying out. So that's what I'm doing. So they always tell me that stop beating up yourself too much. Self-love, like I say, self-love is really very important. And put yourself as number one. That was my philosophy for the past 1 decade, which is maybe I will still using that, even though I will start to looking at the relationship ball now, but still self-love is the one that, and stop beating up yourself. That's true.
I'm very moved as you share, because I think your experience is not just isolated to you, but I think too many moms out there, we beat ourselves up, and like, with guilt, right? You're not doing enough, you could have done this, you should have done this. But I think at the end of it is to get out of that victim mentality.
Yes.
Yes, what's in the past is in the past, and now it's a new space, and only I can make myself happy. And I think for you, it's traveling to the mountains. For you, Mom, it could be something as simple as a cup of coffee, or maybe your favorite bak chor mee, or exercise. So whatever makes you smile, whatever floats your boat. I mean, we are all created uniquely. As we go on an inward journey, I think is as we appreciate the depth of who we are, we begin to actually appreciate the depths of each and every of the individuals around us, not just our kids, our husband, our partners, our friends, but even our employees. And then there's a lot more diversity and a lot more just color added to our world, instead of things must be this way, and because in today's day and age, right, we're talking about businesses thriving, businesses that probably didn't have a name in the past, and as we open up, it's so beautiful, right? As we choose to be nimble and just fail, and then learn and move on. Adri, any?
I think it's space. For me, it was the space. I think the space to space out, really. I think that rest allowed me the time to rethink. The rest allowed me the time to just see opportunity lying there. I think it's like that hamster wheel, right? The more we strive and try to take everything with our human strength to save the situation, sometimes it's about taking that step back. It's not about doing so much, but just really taking that step back and being there. So I think that self-care and that space ultimately is going to be that foundation that lasts us through this crisis and the longer run, because we don't know how long it will be. So it's that self-care, that space, that self-encouragement. And I think because it's a more difficult time, I think it's also time for the mumpreneurs or dadpreneurs, or whoever, to also engage with community and other like-minded entrepreneurs, so that they don't feel like they're the only ones driving the boat. Because the conversations I have out there is that they'll be at home or they'll be struggling in the office, they don't tell their family about it, they're totally beaten up, given up, don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then everyone just feels like giving up emotionally, financially, just give up and go. But sometimes in the strength of the numbers, sometimes in the strength of the community, sometimes it's just a word of encouragement. It can sometimes just keep that light going, and I think that all of us are different parts of a puzzle. So you never know if someone else might have an answer. Like, lucky they all are forerunners in terms of children ahead of me, right? So I get to learn from them. But there are other mentors, entrepreneurs around, I think, that could encourage. She walked through SARS. I wasn't there at SARS. And if someone else could survive through SARS, it gives me hope that, I could survive through COVID. Or if someone else is doing something better, and how we can extend our platform, extend our help, we still could. And I think it's also to encourage people to reach out and not go into self-depression or self-doubt, or go into, just all that thing. I think now is the time to look after that softer aspect of the self, and the softer aspects of things, than going into the hard way of the business and driving numbers and all that, because I think that space for me is more important.
That's a very powerful share, because even as you share what you did, you open up, like, literally. Mom space is really a space where I remember one day I lie down on the bed and I was like, there's so much to do, there's so many things I haven't done. The kids are outside there. My husband was asking me something on the phone, that there's so many things to handle. And I remember just lying down there and mentally, right, I just removed, I'm like, not thinking. And then I did a snow angel, right? Like, it's as if I wanted to claim back my space, not just physically, mentally, but even to just push everything out. This space is for me. What do I want? And in this space is where Mom Space is birthed, where it's a space for you. Who are you, Michelle? Oi, Adri. And it's not just as I reconnect back with me, you brought a very key point. It's connecting with another person. Because I think COVID, right, while physically it may have isolated us, in exactly your experience, Michelle, you talk about how whether it's employer or employees or even customers begin to band together, and we begin to see each other's perspective. Because now you are no more my enemy or my customer. We are all in the same boat. And because we are all in the same boat, COVID is then the enemy, right? Or, the opportunity that causes causes us to realize that we don't need to be fighting against each other. We all, like what you say, have different functions and different learning lessons. And as I open my heart to learn from you and to be taught by you and to allow you to speak into my life, don't we all grow stronger as a human race instead of like, and begin to draw like divisive lines. So there you have it, moms, dads, wherever you come from. I think COVID has opened up a very powerful opportunity for us to recalibrate, for you to newly create what is it you want for yourself first, and then for your partner, for your family, and then for your society. Because I believe that we were not born to be in isolation, but to really serve, because we're part of this bigger interconnected world, even as we look at the digital age. And in closing, I want to say each of my panelists have wonderfully and generously provided. So from Michelle, you've heard a lot of the little executive, TLE. So comment TLE, she's giving 3 private consultation worth $80 to whichever parents out there who say, hey, I want to get a sense of how to give my children life skills, soft skills. And it's for those ages 4 to 7.
It's a trial class and a parent workshop for 1.5 hours for three pairs.
3 pairs online, right?
No, in person.
Oh, in person.
Yeah.
So you
We're
actually
back in school. Yeah.
Oh, you're actually back in school. So comment TLC, and then for Oi, for her it's wireless Bluetooth. Yeah, 5 wireless Bluetooth. 5 wireless headphone and 10 power banks.
Yes, 10 power bank.
So if you want the Bluetooth, and thank you for your generosity, for the wireless earphone, she owns phone shop, right? Just go earphone, and for the power bank, we will contact you and reach out to you. You will be sending it to them.
Yes, I will sending it. Okay.
And for our fashion distributor and retailer, she will be giving 5 $50 Mito, MENTO. You can redeem it online or physically at the shops, right?
You can redeem online, then we'll send it as well.
You redeem online and then they'll just send it to you, and then come, spend, enjoy, because I think at the end of it, right, I think this is such a pivotal conversation, because never at a point, right, have we begun to be pushed to explore new options that we probably wouldn't have thought about opening my own business, or even turning my competitors into now allies, or even customers into friends. So let's deepen the relationship as we begin to prosper in our relationships together. So you have a great evening. Bye.
Bye.